So this man went out of this old dilapidated house and he found a secret hidden door. When he looked inside, you'll never believe what he found. Click here! Click here! Oh, it's just my dark room. Never mind. Hey, this is Chris. So one of my viewers asked me if I could do a little video, kind of a little tour of my dark room. So let me give you a little bit of history of my dark room first before we do that. My first dark room was actually my bathroom in my house, and I used my developing trays on a little card table, and I had a little medium format enlarger in there, and I put it on a little rolling wooden table, and when I wasn't using the dark room, I could actually just roll the whole enlarger into the closet, and that worked really good. Until I went to 4x5 and I bought this Bessler enlarger that you see behind me, and then it didn't fit in the closet anymore. So it ended up actually being out in the bathroom on its table, all sort of wrapped up in towels and plastic and everything. And it just didn't work too good. So I ended up looking around for a room that I could use as an actual darkroom. The room that I'm in now is a dark room that I built this in about 1994, so I've had this as a dark room for quite a while. This room wasn't really an ideal choice to be a dark room because it actually has 4 windows and 2 doors. So it's almost like taking an old fire lookout and turning it into a dark room. It's not exactly the ideal situation. It's surrounded by windows. So I think what I'm going to do here in these videos, I'm going to do at least 2 videos about this darkroom. One sort of an overview, and then I'll do another one where I go into a little bit more detail about how I turn this into a darkroom, some of the features of it. So first of all, this was a laundry room originally, so it actually had water and electric going into it. So the washer and dryer now are outside the hidden door. So I had utilities very close by, so that was nice, and drains and everything too. So it wasn't a big stretch to turn in, almost like if you had a bathroom and you had everything handy. So let me reconfigure here and we'll look around a little bit. So let me just look around a little bit here. I'm doing this video handheld on my action camera because it's the only thing I have this really wide angle enough to get in down here. This room's about, I don't know, maybe 12 feet that way and maybe 8 feet on the other direction, something like that. So let me show you around here a little bit. Over here, I have the enlargers. Now I know you're saying, oh my gosh, this guy's greedy. He's got 2 Bessler enlargers. I bought the blue one back in about 1990 when I first started doing 4x5 photography. This other one, the black one, I just got a couple of years ago, actually about a year ago. That was a partial enlarger, and in my next video I'll go into why that is. So I didn't pay full price for this one. It was much discounted because it was missing a bunch of stuff, but I had what it was missing. This one has a cold light head on it, which is a diffuse light source. The other one has the condenser. I actually do most of my printing with the condenser light. And maybe in a future video we'll talk about the differences in these. The reason I picked up the other enlarger was so that I could set it up with a cold light instead of having to convert my existing enlarger. This is kind of the dry side of the dark room. I have the enlarger, there's negative carriers over there. The shelving that's back in this area has my printing paper on it, enlarging lenses, that kind of stuff going on. And then over on this side of the darkroom I have the sink. Now I made the sink. In fact, this is a darkroom on the cheap. Most of the things in here are sort of things I either made or were done, kind of secondhand. So the sink is over here. In my detail video I'll talk a bit more about the sink. It is kind of an L shape because the room's not real big. I decided to go ahead and turn the corner with the sink to save room. There's a metal sink at that end. I'll go over how I made this in the next video. Underneath the sink, I have a whole bunch of storage. There's 4x5 tanks over there. It's not real bright in here, but I don't know how this camera's even doing. Chemicals in here, film developer, print developer, that kind of things. Trays over here. The big timer in there. Very important feature for a darkroom is the stereo. Very important to have a good stereo in here. The speakers are these really nice infinity speakers up over the sink. So that's really nice to have that. My cheat sheet on the wall with all my developing times and dilutions and everything in it. A little bit of decor, some of these reproduction posters and things in here. Safe lights are up there. There's a couple of old Kodak safe lights in the corner. Talk about those in the detail video a little bit more. There's also a great big one up there. For drying film, hanging film up to dry. Let me try not to get the light bulb in here. I have these. This is actually monofilament line. It's actually weed eater cord is what it is, weed eater trimmer line, with the plastic clothespins on it up there to dry things on. I do have a ventilator in here. This metal duct back in here goes into a fan that's outside. There's a switch underneath the sink. I can turn that on. I don't use that a whole lot. The smell of the chemicals really doesn't bother me. There isn't much for the black and white chemicals. They just don't really smell like very much. So usually I use that more for ventilation than anything. So that's sort of it for the darkroom. Under the newer Bessler is also storage. There's a print washer down there. That's a great big archival print washer I got from a fellow locally on Craigslist. So that's kind of it. It needs to be dusted in here. It gets dusty. I have to sweep it out every once in a while. And about once a year I go through here and I really wipe everything down and clean everything up real good. So that's kind of the darkroom. In the next video here, I'll talk about things in a little bit more detail, what some of this is and kind of how it's set up.